Wait, no baby yet?
Let me unmute myself. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay,
I
no,
wasn't
no,
sure the
not
baby
yet.
either.
I'm 38 weeks and still nothing.
Oh, well, that's okay. You still
Yeah,
have time.
there's been a couple days where I thought for sure I was going into labor, and then I woke up the next morning and I was fine.
I had with both of them, I had contractions for, I don't know, weeks before they came.
Really?
Even with
Okay.
Benji, it was 5 weeks early. I mean, for Harry, it was probably the whole third trimester. For both of
Oh
them, it was
my
probably as much
goodness.
as the third trimester as I had. Yeah,
Okay.
and then there was like a shift. Like the weekend that Harry came, there was like a shift, and I was like, oh, now it's getting real. Like,
Really? Okay. Okay. So I feel fine today, so.
good. Anything feeling tight, stiff, sore?
Just everywhere.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
All right. Anyone else have anything that you guys want to work on? You're welcome to say it out loud or just put it in the chat box if there's anything you want to work on today. No? Okay. I spent the last hour going bananas trying to find a pile of clothes that I needed to wash that I lost. So I'm sorry, I look a little disheveled. I was looking everywhere. I finally found them. I don't sleep enough, you guys. And I'm so happy to be here with you right now to just relax and stretch. So if anything comes up, if anything feels weird, if anything feels, maybe not how you want it to feel, or painful, or you have questions, you can ask or you can put it in the chat box. If there is any music that you'd like to listen to, you're welcome to listen to it on your end. And we'll get started. I think we're gonna do, as usual, we'll do like a good full body rotation. If you have some kind of block, or you could use books instead, or pillows, blankets, anything you can use to sort of prop yourself up, that comes in really handy. Yeah. Yeah, let's start. We're going to start off standing today. I'm going to mute everyone now, so feel free to unmute yourself at any time if you want to talk or ask questions. Okay, so we're going to start off standing. I'm going to use a block, but you can also use a book, or even if you don't have either one of them, let me show you how you can use even just the wall. Oops. Okay, there we go. So you can just put your foot up on the wall and lean forward. That's one way to do it. Or have your block or your book, whatever you've got. You kind of want a hard surface. Although a towel, like a rolled up towel would work here, a tennis ball would work here, any of that, just to give the ball of your foot a little lift so that as you lean forward, you can find that stretch in the calf. Now, as you start to find that stretch, if it's really intense, if it feels like too much, you can always back off. But another thing you can do to try to ease yourself into a stretch that might feel like a lot is to start to just breathe into it and to focus on your breath. And the reason that that helps, one of the reasons that it helps, is because when we focus on our breath, when we make our breath a little bit longer and a little bit slower, we're telling our body and our mind, everything's okay. We don't have to panic. And so if you're in a really intense physical sensation, there might be a little bit of that panic sensation happening in your body. So that deep breath is going to help to ease it a little bit. That said, if it's painful, definitely back out. Let's take 3 more breaths here. And then you can switch sides. Finding the stretch in the calf. You might also feel this in your foot or in like the back of the heel. If you want it deeper, you can step, the foot that's not lifted can just step forward. Let's take one more breath. And then you can release off. We're gonna do some warming up for the legs so that when we go to stretch them, it may just feel a little better to have them warmed up first. So let's come down onto our backs. And then we're gonna come into a bridge pose. We're gonna warm up the quads, the hamstrings, and the glutes. So lifting up the hips, let's go nice and slow, just lifting and lowering. And in the beginning here, you might not want to go to your full range of movement just because it's the beginning of our class. Our bodies are not warmed up yet. So just gently lifting and lowering. This should be okay for everybody unless it's giving you heartburn. Let's take just a few more rounds of breath, lifting and lowering. And you might feel like you're starting to get a little bit higher with each lift. You can definitely do this if you are getting the heartburn. You can definitely do this on your hands. It's not exactly the same. It'll give you a nice stretch in your shoulders this way. Now, whichever variation you're in, we're gonna press into the heels, squeeze the heels back towards the shoulders or the fingers or the head so that the hamstrings and the glutes are really working here. So either way, now start to shift your weight forward into your toes. It might be easier to step the feet back to do this, but as you push into your toes, you'll feel your quads engage a little bit more. And then imagine you're trying to slide your feet away from your shoulders, and that'll engage the quads even a little bit more. Now let's shift the weight back into the heels, press into the heels, squeeze them back towards the hips. Now start to squeeze the inner thighs towards each other as well. They don't have to touch, they probably won't, but you'll feel the inner thighs engaging. You might also feel different parts of your glutes engaging as well. Now shifting the weight back into the balls of the feet, pressing the feet away from the hips. Squeeze the knees wide. And then let's release down. Extend the left leg out, bring the right knee into your chest. You can stay right here, or you can come into a twist. If you don't want to come into a full twist, you might just come to lay on your side. And if you're laying on your side, if you're not really twisting, or even if you are twisting, you might like to straighten the top leg, and find a little deeper stretch in the hamstring and the outer hip. Now, if you are in your twist, you're gonna roll over just so that you're not twisted. So one shoulder over the other shoulder. Your top arm is gonna reach straight up, and then you're gonna turn your palm first towards your face, and then you're gonna drop that thumb back behind you. So this is not a twist, even though sort of the movement is the same. Now, once that arm gets down towards the ground, it might not touch. Then you're going to start to find some movement. Imagine that you're trying to slide your thumb across the ground until the back of your hand hits your butt. And then you're going to slide your thumb along the ground until your arm is next to your ear. I just need a little bit more room. There we go. So we're going to go back and forth. So it's almost like a half a snow angel that we're making. That kind of movement. Imagine you're trying to keep your thumb on the ground the whole time, back and forth. We're looking for creating some openings in the side body, in the back, and in the shoulder. Let's come back to center and then bring that arm back down to the ground. So you're on your side. You might bring one or both hands under your head. Just find a comfortable position here. And come back to your breath. Notice how the belly expands with your inhale. And then compresses with the exhale. Take one more round of breath. And then roll onto your back. Extend the right leg, bring the left knee into your chest. Or the opposite of whatever side you did last time. And then you can come into a twist or just come to lay on your side. So in the twist or laying on the side, you have the option to extend the left leg and find a deeper stretch. take one more breath. And then if your leg is straight, you might bend it. You can roll all the way to your side. And then reach the left arm up, turn your palm towards your face, let the left arm drop back behind you. And then reaching it up alongside your ear. And then back down. So that the back of your hand is coming towards your tush. So moving back and forth, finding that opening through the shoulders. Well, the left shoulder, the side body, the upper back. Take just a few more rounds of breath. And then rolling all the way over to your side. You can bring your hands under your head. Just find a nice, calm, relaxing position. On your next breath, come over onto hands and knees. And if you have blocks or books or a table or a chair nearby for stability, you might grab it. We're gonna step the right foot forward. Left knee is down on the ground, and then you're gonna reach your right hand back to grab your left foot. And then this part's really important. The tailbone is gonna lengthen down towards the ground. So we're not arching, we're not sticking the butt out. We're trying to tuck the tailbone under the body because that's going to give us a better stretch. On your exhale, release your left foot down and then straighten the right leg, come into your half split. So we're going to try to keep the left hip over the left knee here and then send the tailbone back. On your next breath, you can lift up. You're going to bring your right leg straight out to your right side. So we're going to press it down into the outer edge of the foot. Can't seem to get over far enough. There we go. And then from there, we're going to reach the left arm up and over. So we're stretching through the left side of the torso. You can do this with your right hand on a block or on your right thigh or wrapped behind your back. On your next exhale, hands are going to come down to the ground in front of you. Tailbone is going to lift up and back as the chest and belly come down. So you might still be up on your hands, you might come onto forearms, you might lower down even more. We're looking for a stretch in the right inner thigh. You might also feel it in the hamstring, the calf, maybe in the left side body a little. On your next breath, you can lift up. Come back to hands and knees. Then we'll step the left foot forward. Reach the left hand back for the right foot. You can turn your chest towards your left thigh and then tuck the tailbone down. Find the stretch in the right hip, right quad. Let's release the right foot. Turn forward. Straighten the left leg. You might need to move the right knee back a little bit here so that we can keep the right hip over the right knee. And then find the stretch in the left hamstring. Send the tailbone back and up. Now you're gonna bring your left leg straight out to your left side, or you can just pivot to turn the other way. And then lifting up, we're gonna reach the right arm up and over to stretch through the right side body. Right hand can come to a block, table, chair, onto the left leg, or behind your back. On your inhale, come back up to center, and then you can lower your arms down out in front of you. Press into the outer edge of your left foot. Lower down as much as you need to. Send the tailbone back and lift it up. Looking for that stretch in the left hamstring, inner thigh especially. You might feel it in the right side body as well. Maybe in the outer left calf or ankle. On your next breath, you can come back up onto hands and knees. We're going to come into a thread the needle. But first, we're going to come into some mobility for the shoulders. So what it'll look like, we're not arching and rounding the spine. The spine is staying pretty neutral the whole time. What we're doing is we're dropping the chest down, and then we're lifting the chest up. So pulling the shoulder blades together, or really letting them come together, and then spreading the shoulder blades wide as you create a little bit more space. So let's just go up and down a few times. And you might feel a little stretch here. You might feel some engagement here. But the movement is in the upper back, not any other part of the body. Now we're going to start to really squeeze the shoulder blades together as we lower down. And then really pull them apart as we lift up. Take one more round. And then we'll come into our thread the needle. So I'm going to give you two options for thread the needle. If you're not into twisting right now, or if for any reason it's just uncomfortable to do it the sort of typical way, you can just bring your arm across your chest and hold it there. Otherwise, we'll bring the right arm over to the left side first. And then reaching the left arm up overhead might give you a deeper stretch. Come back to center. Switch to the other side. So either just pulling the arm across your chest and holding there in a seated position or standing position. Or you can come down and find your stretch on the ground. Take one more breath. And then we'll release. We're going to come into a squat pose. So if this is uncomfortable for you to do without a blocker blanket, you're welcome to use any of that, or even a pillow under your hips, just like you're sitting on it. Otherwise, you can do it without. Your heels might be lifted, they might be down. Eventually, I guess if there was a goal for this pose, other than, the areas of the body that we're stretching, once those areas are stretched out, you might get your heels down to the ground. But if they never get there, it doesn't mean that you're doing it wrong. So what we really want to find here is just a little bit of ease in this position. For some people, it's fine. For some people, this is really uncomfortable. So if this feels really uncomfortable to you, you might not stay for as long as we're going to stay. What you can do is roll onto your back and stay in this position without so much pressure on the legs and the hips. So we're going to take about another minute here And you can find some different variations for the upper body. So you can drop your head, your arms, your chest down, get a stretch through the back of the body. You can find some twisting to either direction. If you want to build a little bit more strength, you can reach the arms up. Or you can just rest in the center. Elbows can come to the insides of your knees. Heart or hands at heart center. And as you press your hands in towards heart center, the knees are going to go a little bit wider. Let's take one more breath. You can release down to your seat. And then we're going to bring the legs wide in front. So this will be our kind of longer hold today. And you can change the angle of your legs. So if you want more of a stretch in the inner thighs, legs wider. If you want more of a stretch in the hamstrings, legs can be closer together. Or kind of a V-shaped if you want a little bit of both. And then starting to hinge forward. Again, use your inhale to get long. Send the tailbone back behind you. And then exhale to lower down a little bit more. We're going to be here for a few minutes. So if it's painful, come out of it. If it's uncomfortable, breathe through it. Let's take one more breath here. And then you can lift up. We're going to come into cow face pose, Gomukhasana. So let's bring the right leg under and the left leg over. So this might look different in your body. If this is really uncomfortable to have both knees bent, you can also have that bottom leg straight out in front. And then we're working towards getting the knees stacked on top of each other. But they might not be anywhere near that today, which is completely fine. So once you've found your position, if you're feeling a stretch already, you can stay here. If it feels really uncomfortable in your hips or in your low back, sitting up on a block can really help. If you're not feeling much of a stretch, you can start to fold forward. Let's take one more breath here. And then you can lift up, lean back, switch your legs. So it might not be the same variation for your legs from one side to the other. Hinging forward if you like to, sitting up on a block if that feels good. Always coming back to the breath. And your next breath, you can lift up. We're going to come onto our bellies for one strength building. If you're not coming onto your belly today, you can do this on hands and knees. So I'll show you hands and knees first, and then we'll come down. If you're on your hands and knees, you're going to go from neutral to cow pose. Neutral to cow pose. If you want to go through cat also, that's fine. If you're on your belly, so what we're trying to do in both of these is to just strengthen the back in the opposite position from how you might sit if you're in front of a computer or a device. So on your belly, the hands and arms are going to be down, and you can use them a little bit, but we're trying to focus on using the back. So inhaling to lift up, and then exhaling, releasing down. As you lift up, you should feel this primarily in your back, and then release down. We're going to take 8 more rounds of breath. Really squeezing the back muscles. If you haven't been counting, you probably have 1 more left. And then releasing down. You can come onto your side or onto your back for Shavasana. You can also bring your legs up the wall. You can keep your knees bent, especially if your low back feels tight. Arms can come into any position. And start to bring your focus back to your breath. Just noticing how it feels as it moves in and out through your nose. Start to bring some movement into your fingers and toes, wrists and ankles. You can stretch your arms out, stretch your legs out. Make your way up to a seat. Let's bring hands to heart center. We'll inhale deeply and exhale completely. Namaste. All right, guys, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you.
Rest of your day.
Thanks, Amanda. Take care.
Bye.